Hi, I'm May Berenbaum, Chair of the International Congress of Entomology Council, and on behalf of the Council, I welcome you to the 26th International Congress of Entomology and to becoming part of a 112-year tradition of an open and victorious science, as entomology was described by Auguste Lumiere, who convened the very first International Congress in 1910 in Brussels, Belgium. Well, for most of its existence, ICE has been held every 4 years. Now, ICE 26 here in Helsinki has been an exception due to the global COVID pandemic, but it's by no means unique in being thrown off schedule by world events. In fact, the third International Congress was scheduled for Vienna, Austria in 1915, was canceled due to World War I and international warfare and political hostilities around the world, led to its rescheduling not in Vienna, but in Zurich, Switzerland, neutral Zurich, in 1925, 10 years after it was supposed to take place. Now, in the Sixth Congress held in Madrid, ended just as the Spanish Civil War was beginning, and as a consequence, the proceedings of that Congress were actually delayed until 1940. Were not published for 5 years. After the Berlin Congress, the number 7 in 1938, the next Congress was scheduled to be Stockholm, Sweden in 1941. That was delayed due to World War I, was not held until 1948 in Stockholm. And that late scheduling pushed aside the 9th Congress, which is supposed to be in Amsterdam, Netherlands in 1945, but ultimately was held in 1951, 6 years later than it was scheduled. The 10th Congress was briefly delayed because actually, there was no host identified. Brazil had offered at the Amsterdam Congress, but then became mired in political and strife and economic depression. And it was not until Canada, 1 year before the Congress was scheduled to be held, volunteered to host it in Montreal. So really, all things considered, as everybody I'm sure knows, in March of 2020, COVID-19 appeared and scuttled plans for a 2020 Congress, but we're only 2 years late. So that, in the grand scheme of things, is not too bad. And it shows that despite obstacles, entomologists persevered and delayed Congresses were ultimately successful, which is a testament to entomological determination, resilience, and resourcefulness. Well, a lot has changed about ICE between my first, which was in Hamburg in 1984, and my most recent in Orlando in 2016. As an assistant professor in Hamburg and as a full professor, and actually president of the Entomological Society of America in 2016. Among the notable changes between Hamburg and Orlando, the fact that the number of female council members has tripled, which sadly is to say it went from 1 in 1984 to 3 this year. So we have a ways to go before we get closer to gender parity. But the purpose of ICE hasn't changed. As beautifully expressed by Glenn Herrick, who wrote an editorial for Science Magazine on the occasion of the 4th International Congress of Entomology in Ithaca, we believe that this opportunity for the co-workers of different nationalities to become acquainted with each other has contributed much toward more friendly intercourse among the scientists of the various countries represented, and it will certainly exert its influence toward a more mutual respect between the peoples of the different nations involved. And that's true today. Now, each Congress has had distinguishing features. ICE 26, for example, in Helsinki at 60.17 north latitude is the northernmost location of any Congress, a distinction that was previously held successively in Montreal and then Moscow and then Stockholm. If you're interested, the southernmost location for Congress was in 2008 when Durban, South Africa hosted. So if anyone wants to break that record, I'm looking at you, New Zealand, that opportunity may await you in a future Congress. Each Congress also shares features with its predecessors. The 26th Congress shares with 5 previous Congresses a Lepidopteran logo. From around the world, there have been Congresses that chose Lepidoptera, one of the largest hyperdiverse orders, so it's not inappropriate. And the ICE 22, or the 26th ICE in 2022 has selected for the first time an nymphalid. So Lepidopteran is an apt choice as a symbol for Finland. There are about 24,000 species of insects found there. Among them are 121 species of butterflies, including 10 skippers. Among the Lepidopterans endemic to Finland are the tortricid leaf roller moth, Exapity bicuspidella, and the grass miner Elachista sarali. I just want to point out that it's only in museums that these two Finnish moths lack abdomens. When they fly around Finland, they have all three major body regions. As they are in much of the rest of the world, Finland's insects are at risk. 10% of insect species are threatened. The butterfly fauna includes 2 species designated as critically endangered, 12 that are endangered, and 10 that are considered vulnerable. As of 2010, 26 Lepidopteran species have been protected by law under the Nature Conservation Decree. The Apollo butterfly, Parnassus apollo, is a swallowtail you may remember as the symbol for the 7th International Congress held in Berlin. It is endangered and protected in Finland. Its congener, Parnassus nemazini, is vulnerable. This species is confined to grasslands and woodland pastures and is at risk because it depends on grazing and is threatened by overgrowth of open areas. Well, in Finland's insect fauna is far from unique. Insect biomass, the sheer collective weight, is declining annually about 2.5% in most parts of the world that have been surveyed. Insect species diversity may be declining even more rapidly. Across orders, nearly half of the orders are in decline, and about 1/3 threatened with extinction. As many as 100 species may have gone extinct since ICE 1 was held in Brussels. So in the 21st century, entomologists have a special responsibility to the rest of the world, not just to describe new species, but also to learn as much as possible about all insects, whether they are charismatic, such as this new Pyralis species, Pyralis cardinalis, that was just recently described 2 years ago, around the beginning of the pandemic, or whether they're small, brown, and nondescript, as is this coleophorid just described in 2019. And yes, there is an insect under this very unprepossessing exterior. So this week, share what you know with your colleagues here and with the rest of the world at large. Talk, tweet, and enjoy the week. And thank you for being here, and enjoy insects. Thanks.